a land that I will show you. Lech Lecha, to a place you do not know. L'Chi Lach, on your journey I will bless you, and you shall be a blessing, and you shall be a blessing, and you shall be a blessing. L'Chi Lach, L'Chi Lach, and I shall make your name great. Lech Lecha, and all shall praise your name. L'Chi Lach, to a place that I will show you. L'Simchat Chaim, L'Simchat Ahava, L'Simchat Torah, L'Chi Lach, and you shall be a blessing, and you shall be a blessing, and you shall be a blessing. L'Chi
Hi, my name's Michael Farber. I had the luck of reconnecting with Paul later in life. But I'm 43, and I think the lady has already left that said her son was bar mitzvah in '91. It was probably my hater class. But I think the memories that I remember of Paul, of course, are as a Cantor and are being a kid of Judaism. So where did I become a Jew, and what things mean to me as a Jew came out of my parents, my grandparents. B'nai Yehuda on 69th was, a second home. I was there for Sunday school every week, and then Hader on Saturday morning. I was one of those kids in shorts you were talking about, running around on Saturday mornings. And then of course the Cantor and Rabbi Zedek were giants. And even now at 43, I feel something missing in my spiritual life with the absence of them in those roles and the building. That whole thing that was home is gone. So that was one thing that came out of that experience. And just a couple stories of Hader I can tell you is, I remember it may have been 4 months, I don't remember exactly how many months before being bar mitzvah, but we got up on the bima, the Cantor and I, and he pulled out the Torah scroll, and I was doing my Torah portion on Torah, and I was 12, and I was probably fairly cocky and arrogant, and what a 12-year-old boy can be, and I was mispronouncing a number of words, and he would correct me, and I'd say, I know. And at one point he must have got frustrated and said, if you knew you'd pronounce it right, so I always remember that. I'm like, yeah, that is true, I've been called on it. So you show that cassette recorder. He sent me home with cassettes to practice my Torah and Hop Torah portion every night, to practice through and sing them and read them and do that. And anybody remembers Norman Basson? I met Norman Basson through him, who was awesome. But there were phone calls and practicing and doing all that, countless times. And of course, I had my bar mitzvah, and I remember at the end we there were lots of memories from that. It's on film. Like I saw part of that was up there. It's on film. But we put the Torah scrolls back in. We closed the ark doors, and there was a little spot. It was like a little button. It was machined in. It wasn't a button like you press on a computer. It was like a hole. I don't remember what it was for, but he said, quietly, put your finger up here. And so I put my finger on it, and he put his finger on mine, looked at me, and smiled that we had essentially completed the bar mitzvah. So there's tons of memories of Paul, but those formative memories as a kid are the ones that last a lifetime. It's been 30 years since I've been bar mitzvah, but I remember plenty of that.
Thanks.
I'll be real quick. My whole life, I was and am Larry Gelb's daughter. At 52, I'm still Larry Gelb's daughter. But when I grew up with Paul. Paul was there when I was bat mitzvahed. Enunciate. Enunciate your words. We ran the labs. But he was the one who pulled me out from being my dad's daughter and being me. And he was at my wedding, and he buried my mom. And the part of Paul that resonates with me the most now, and I think another woman was talking about it, is every Friday night when he sang Vishamru, the entire pulpit shook. I mean, he pounded on the bima, and my mother loved that. And to this day, I can't remember her voice. I can't even pick it out of a room of people speaking. But when I hear Paul singing, I feel my mother's presence, because she was so tied to B'nai Yehuda and so tied to Paul. And my kids didn't get bar mitzvah with him. They had a wackadoodle bar mitzvah experience. But I'm forever grateful to be raised as Larry Gelb's kid and Charlene Gelb's kid, and the beautiful friendship that Dad and Paul had for so many years.
At this point, I would like to introduce my long-waiting daughter, who's in London. She's going to listen to. I'm going to try to work out how to. Should I just do the cards? I'm going to try to work out. Scott, I think I'm just going to have you do it on phone. Okay. All right. So. All right. Can you see? All right. So, my daughter, I know this is really, I just don't want to fuss with technology. Is this okay if I do this? Okay. So, this is, Scotty, it's all you.
What's on me?
You're on.
Put the mic.
Okay.
Put the mic up to the.
Okay, so I'd like to introduce my daughter, Scout, to say a few words about her grandpa, who he bat mitzvahed while we were living in Sydney, Australia. And you can imagine the time difference, but he made sure to speak to her before she went to school every morning. And she'll share a few words, and then she's going to sing something for you. Try it. I don't think it's going to do it. I think you just have to listen. I think you can hear. I think you just hear.
Okay, I'll try and project. Hello everyone. I'm here in lovely gloomy London, so hopefully you can hear me from all the way over there. But yeah, I had a very small family growing up, and so every single person has always been very precious to me. But it was very obvious that there was a very big difference between my grandma and my grandpa. And chance to talk to him about philosophy and life, and every time that I did, I always enjoyed our conversations, and it was always very beautiful, and I very much respected both of my grandparents for their love and their openness. And with my grandpa, I got to explore and tend a side that I didn't get to experience with my grandma, and very rarely do. And I appreciate them in different ways, but what I never truly appreciated was his ease of telling me how much he loved me, and being open to my ideas, which were very, very different from him, and my intensity, which he didn't have, and my questioning everything, which he was always very much up for. And I will always respect that of him, and I sort of, I see the best gift that I've ever been given. He gave me, which was my mom. So he's always going to mean the world to me, and I'm glad that we were there for a bit before he took off. But it's very lovely to see everyone here, and
Okay, so I'll let you go from that, and now I should okay. So Scout is going to sing a song that's very meaningful to all of us, and it was super meaningful to our family. My grandfather shook with this song, and I know you will too.
ready?
Yeah.
Wait. Okay. Oh Lord, whatever can leave never shabudi konia ufateni jadina ein Zion Sophia. Oh Lord of doubting potato, I think of streams of heaven, Rio temple, she they are saying, blessed Zion Yerushalayim. Rio temple, she they are saying, blessed Zion Yerushalayim.
When my dad bat mitzvahed Scout, he flew to Stamford, Connecticut, where we had lived, where my mother still lives, and where all the people that I knew would be able to gather to appreciate Scout being bat mitzvahed in America. We flew from Australia to collaborate, to just all come together again. We stood under the same oil lamp that was hanging over me when my father bat mitzvahed me at Temple Sinai in Stanford. I've held it together much better today than I did then, because the passage of the torch from when I was 13, from him, from my grandfather to me, and then now my father's doing this to my daughter in the same place, was so deeply powerful, meaningful, and all the old faces coming together. So he would be proud that she's singing to you today, the anthem of our people, and that she has this voice of comfort and soul that comes through and will hopefully keep going through to her family. I want to also, if I may, before we go to our beautiful choir, second unit, where's L'Chi Lach? When my dad would sing us when he put us to bed at night, us kids, well, me and my brother from the first family, he would always tuck us in and he would sing the prayers, but he would also ask how our days were. So he'd kneel down, it was dark, he'd lean in, you could feel his breath on your ear, and he'd say, so how was your day? And we'd talk about our day. And one time I said, spoiled by having this man as my father, I thought, I'm going to say what I think, and I don't care. I know he has knowledge and wisdom, but I know, similar to what you're saying, the cocky 14-year-old feeling, I'm going to take it to my father. He's not going to understand this part. And we were talking about space. I can't remember why, but we were talking about space, and I said, well, at least space is finite. And he said, really, in his infinite patience, he said, oh, right, okay. So what if I build a stone wall, lying in the dark, and I remember this vividly. If I build a stone wall all around space. And I said, yeah, snug in my idea. And he said, what's beyond that? It blew my mind. And it changed me, because what it did was it opened gently. He didn't make me wrong. He simply pointed to another place, and he created portals in us where we thought we were standing at right here, and this is what it is. And he would just open the door and point, and you were invited to another portal, which is a way of growing up. And he allowed me that, where I was able to decide my mind was blown. It was me realizing he invited me to know more, to think more, to open to more, and to understand there's always more, and it's endless. So that was defining. It was the Via Hafta that which always tied the knot on the end of the day. We talked about our days, did whatever we did, we fought, we made up, whatever we did. And he would say the Via Hafta, and to put me to sleep. So I would like to do that now, to put Dad to sleep. If you would can you all say the Via Hafta with me for those who feel unrusty, and help me who may be a bit rusty. And I'll do this in Via Hafta es Adonai Echad, Kol Vavcha, Kol Nafshecha, Kol Mogecha, Hayu Havorim Ha'ela, Asher Tzavcha Hayim Alo Anecha, Shinantam Vanecha, Dibarta Bam, Shitcha V'Etecha, L'Lecha V'Er, V'Shakta V'Mecha, V'Shaktam Yot Ayadecha, Can you help? Or is that it? No. Everybody stop. Lemon, Sikaru, Sitam, Etkol Mitzvotaya, Hayim, Yoshim, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart. This is the original book that I had for my bat mitzvah, so the words are going to be slightly different, but this is what I remember. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And these words which I command thee this day shall be upon thine heart. Thou shalt teach them diligently to thy children, and shalt speak of them. Now, this is my house. When thou walkest by the way, when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. Thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thy hand, and they shall be for frontlegs between thine eyes. Thou shalt write them upon the doorposts of thy house, and upon thy gates, that you may remember and do all my commandments. Be holy unto your God.